Well. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I am here. Garrett's here. Hello, Garrett.
Howdy.
How was your weekend, buddy?
That was pretty good. Just a nice, relaxing one.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
special.
No, I got back in the modding Fallout, so the
The
nerds
what?
will know it. The nerd stuff.
Okay, explain. What is modding Fallout?
So I played Fallout 4 so much. It's a great game. I get
Sure.
to the point where you get user-created content called mods, where you can just make the game whatever you want. If I want to be Master Chief running down the middle of the road with a pony shooting gun, I can. So it's just
Okay.
I'm trying to make it into a survival horror game right now. Like a full-on hardcore apocalypse. It's a lot of time and probably hours of just uploading, downloading, and trying to make sure everything works together.
Yeah. I sort of hold on. I'm trying to get these stories in order, and then I'll ask you about it. But
that was my whole weekend.
Yeah, dude, someone's gonna have to explain to me how this works with video games, because I see that with Marshall, like where he's just sitting there and I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? He's like, playing video games. I'm like, you're not really doing anything. He's like, no, I've programmed it to do everything for me. And I'm like, okay. And so there's just something running around and it's digging everything up and he's getting all this shit. And I'm like, okay. I thought it was bad when you guys were just watching videos of other people play games, and now it's like, oh, we've just set it up so that it does everything, and then I can literally do nothing for a half hour while it just does everything for me.
Simulator games and sim management stuff is a big popular genre. I play a lot of those, like City Skylines. It's like I just kind of zone the area out and then let the people build and I keep them happy. That's the game.
So you want to be a slave driver?
Yeah, it's literally just I'm now the mayor of a city and I'm building it. That's the whole game.
All right. Hey man, whatever makes you happy.
It's a little control I get in life. That's all it is.
I don't understand it. It's like I see it with Marshall and I'm just like, I can't wrap my head around or comprehend. Like, the games are as dope as they've ever been. They're unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Why you would want to, like, I don't know. Like, isn't that the point of the game, that you're going and doing everything and you're discovering? It's like, nah, I'll just have this fucking machine over here. He was like creating a planet, and he'd just click one button and then the machine would go over here and just start building like layers and levels of a planet. I'm just like, okay. And now what do you do? He's like, nothing.
He manages the machine. That's his job.
It sounds like an actual job.
It does.
You're not playing anything. You're just
it
like,
does sometimes, but
I'm just the overlord that sits here and watches this thing develop itself.
No, I always make the joke. It's like me at school, bored out of my mind, doing a 9 to 5, sort of just clicking away at a computer, and it's me at home doing the exact same thing, but it's a video game, so I'm happy.
Yeah, hey man, I don't know. I guess I'm just too old to understand or care. I remember the good old days of like Donkey Kong, or and obviously I had all the games after that. I'm being a little facetious, but I used to love playing like well, I guess what are the ones where you just drive around the city and it's got all these things that want you Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And I remember the original Grand Theft Auto and Vice City and all that stuff. And I didn't give a shit what the missions were. Like, I know there was like a start and an end of the game, and you completed these 7 missions, and then I don't know what you got. I'll never know, because I never completed a single mission. I just drove around, punched hookers, made them suck my dick, and then robbed them. Yeah. And like, but I was still the one driving around. It was like, see if I can get to 5 stars, have all the police chasing me, and I'll fight off the coppers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, see how long I can get it to where they're not searching for me anymore. Immediately pull over, get blown in my car, and then punch her in the face.
Yep.
Steal the money, and then now the cops are after me again. Like, yeah, I didn't care what the mission was, but at least I was driving around, running over people and running over hookers and beating them up and robbing them. Like,
if you see what Grand Theft Auto has become, you'd be happy and sad, because it's actually one of the funniest, and like, it's still Grand Theft Auto, but there's the GTA Online now.
Yeah.
Which is it's its own thing.
Good?
It's
good or bad?
Good. It's a good premise, but people ruined it.
Okay.
It's one of those games where it's like you can do anything you want. And
I should say really quick, Greg Henson is going to join us in a minute. We're just waiting for him. He had taken Oyster to the dog park, and so He'll join us in a minute. So don't worry. We'll get into Canada and what's going on in Mexico and lots of other things. But this is it. This is what's that?
For all the people tuning out over nerd talk.
Yeah. Don't worry, nerds.
Yeah.
Well, or no, the nerds are getting off on this. What you consider nerds are like, all right, is there anything going on in the world?
For sports.
Yeah, we'll get to some sports too. I have some Lions questions, and Henson's the perfect person to talk to about that. So he'll pop in a minute. But what did they do to Grand Theft Auto? Because I do love that game.
It's one of those games where it's like the premise is perfect. You can make your own character. You can go on the online part, and you and your friends can do everything you can do in regular Grand Theft Auto, but with each other, and it's all cool. Blow each other's cars up, have fun, drive them off cliffs, get the cops on you.
Mm-hmm.
But it became one of those games where now every time you play it, every other kid who has min-maxed and figured out that what Marshall does, where they can figure out how to get the perfect amount of money and the most amount of money so they can buy these certain things, and they can ruin your day because anyone can kill you. So it becomes a game of you getting trapped in your own house because every fucking 13-year-old wants to kill you.
And what? Steal your shit?
No, you don't get anything. They just do it because it's funny. There's nothing gained.
Yeah.
I like it because it's got great cars, and you can... They did really good work on their cars in this new game, and the online has a lot of options and a lot of customization. So I like to play it like a racing game.
Yeah.
And I can't leave my house without getting blown up.
Really? So that doesn't happen if you're playing the
regular game. Yeah. You can just play the regular. Yeah. The offline.
Yeah. What was the other one that was like that? That's like, that's online only. And it's like, if you walk in, you've got some possessions, like people are going to murder you and just steal your shit.
Oh, Red Dead does that too. Yeah.
Probably a lot of them.
Like Call of Duty did it's like an extraction
Call of
game
Duty
mode.
Maybe.
Yeah,
that might be the one.
Anything extraction where it's like you go in with a certain amount of loot. Escape from Tarkov does this, and it's like you go in with any gear, and anything that you pick up you can take out, but if you don't make it out alive, you lose everything you brought in with you too.
Oof.
So it's like it's a big risk reward, and there's other players in there who are hunting you for your stuff.
Yeah, Jesus, dude. That's crazy.
Escape from Tarkov gives me nightmares. It's one of the only games I can't play in the dark, and it's not even a horror game. It's
really?
You never know when there's just a kid sitting behind a corner with a shotgun waiting. Like he knows you got what he wants, so he's just waiting.
How does he know you got what he wants?
Because everybody has enough loot you want to get what they have, try and get out of there with it.
Oh my God. Why don't you just turn every corner and just fire?
Because then you give away your position, so everyone else in the area can hear you and start running in on you.
Okay. Yeah.
So you want to try and be as quiet as possible and sneak in and out.
Wow. It doesn't sound like fun. It sounds like too much stress.
Oh, it's even worse when people team up. So, everyone, their friends will get together, and you'll have 4 guys sitting on a hill with rifles, and you don't even know they're there.
Yeah.
They know you're there.
This doesn't sound fun, dude. I gotta
be
honest with
you. I don't play Tarkov. It's well done, but I can't do it. It's not fun to me.
Yeah. What would happen if I just walked in like, hey guys, I'm here. What are we doing today? Yeah. Would I just have that like now I'm fucking
in the game went as hardcore as possible on the details. So it's like when glass shatters next to you, it's like, whoa, shit. Like I actually have a PTSD moment.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I started watching over the weekend, not to change subjects too drastically. I started watching the Kobe Bryant documentary on CNN. Rather interesting.
I know how that one ends.
Yeah, right. It's a 3-part documentary. Next Saturday, I think, is the 3rd part, and they're an hour long each. But it's just interesting to follow. Like, here's this kid. It goes through episode 1 goes through his upbringing, and his dad was getting booted out of the NBA basically, and then got picked up by random teams in France, and so that's why Kobe, speaks French and grew up part of his time over there. and so he comes off like a smug little fucking punk ass kid too.
Not good for your own documentary.
What's that?
Not good for like a post-mortem documentary,
Yeah. I don't know that many people will see it that way. Yeah. But it's interesting, it ends up episode 2 gets into the sex assault trial, which if you remember, a lot of us got shit for even talking about that when he died in the helicopter crash.
Yeah, I mean, technically
it was sad, but some of the details in that sex assault thing in Colorado with a 19-year-old girl, I think he fucked her in the ass. And she was claiming, no, I did not want that. And like went down this whole thing. It's just, and then, he buys a $4 million diamond for his chick. Like, yeah, sorry about banging that chick. I can't remember. He was doing like rehab on a knee injury in Colorado. And, but it's just wild seeing how the coverage was in early 2000s. Like what
kind of OJ era.
Yeah. Coming on the heels of the OJ era.
Yeah.
Exactly what it was. And like these people, seeing the people that'll protest or people that'll show up and it's just shows the sickness that is celebrity culture in this country. Like a week after he testified in Colorado or something, or the trial starts, he's given like or 2 weeks after this news breaks, he has the worst press conference ever. He could barely put a sentence together. And then he's immediately given the People's Choice Award at like the MTV or the Nickelodeon Awards, standing ovation. He's got his trophy. It's just like, the amount of people that show up to the courtroom chanting, Kobe is innocent. Kobe is innocent. It's like, they have no idea. They have no clue. Trying to dox this chick, ruin her life. She ends up fucking bailing. And just like, I can't deal with this anymore. Has to move. Family has to move. The creepy media hanging on every word and, interviewing fans. Like, these people drive me nuts that show up outside of a courtroom, whether it was for Michael Jackson or Kobe Bryant. And they just, I don't know what it is, man. But yeah, the judge at one point is like, so media reports are coming out on her past sex life. And it's like, yeah, what does that have to do with whether or not what? She's been laid before, she fucks people. And so that matters. That should come up in this. There's Henson. Maybe he's seen this. I just started. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good, man. What's up? Hey, Garrett.
Hey, what's up?
I just started going into, before you got here, I started going into the Kobe Bryant documentary. Have you seen any of that yet?
Not yet, but I'm watching like my 18th OJ one now.
Dude, I can't get enough of the OJ ones.
Yeah, but this has new info.
What?
There's new info on there. Google new info and OJ documentary. Like, I was watching it going, I don't think I remember that from before. Like, there's blood everywhere. I mean, this guy totally did it. There are witnesses they never called. They never took DNA. It's the stupidest thing.
Yeah. Dude, I spent an entire episode one day reading the If I Did It book on the air. It's one of the greatest reads ever.
You mean When I Did It?
Yeah. I mean, If I Did It. Dude, you can't get that book. And I can't remember where I found a copy of it, but you read, it's just hilarious. Trying to act like this guy didn't do it. Like the detail. He's either Stephen King in his depth and his detail of this incident, if I did it, until it gets to the murder, at which point he blacked out, went into a fucking all-out rage, and then it's like, I blacked out. It's like, yeah, but you're supposedly writing a book on what would have happened if you did it.
There were wet clothes in the dryer the night they arrested him, and no one bothered to look at him.
Why would they?
I mean, why? Yeah, he's the juice.
Mm-hmm. He's Whitey's favorite. The white cops loved him. All of Brentwood loved the juice. That's the biggest fucking scam in that whole trial. It was like, as if he's just a black guy that can't get a fair shake in America. Like that getting that story through. And those jurors have come out and given comment now that it didn't matter. You could have had him on video. That was strictly a fuck you to the system. To
the Rodney King cops.
To the Rodney King thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so OJ just once again got a free pass for
look.
Historical injustices. Here. Oh, hi. The liberals in the house. What does she think? Does she think OJ's innocent?
No. Hell no. No. She hates OJ because libs hate black people. That's just how it goes.
Oh boy. I thought you were going to show me Oyster. There you go.
She's sleeping. I squeezed in her park time.
Good boy. Good job. So what is this new documentary on the juice? Because I've watched all of them.
It came out Friday.
On what? On one of the streamings?
It's
or
a
is
Netflix. It's a Netflix.
Oh, excellent.
Here, I'll tell you the
Excellent.
name of it. It's called American Manhunt. O.J. Simpson. It's only 4 episodes, so it's not it's a minimum commitment. But man, Furman's in there. Everyone's in there. It's so good.
Furman's great on those. You know, that N-word thing tapes. You know, I'd have to go back and watch a lot of that stuff, but that was taken a lot out of context. The whole thing with Mark Furman, but he's about as credible as you can get. And if it's just like, gotcha, you know, you said the N-word once, or whatever they try to do, however they try to spin it to you know, take the credibility away from someone.
That's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we've got him saying the N-word as if that means OJ didn't kill anyone. It's just a joke. But dude, I didn't even know there was a new OJ one out. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the John Benet Ramsey one, and there was nothing new.
Yeah, nothing. They keep doing it every few years. And I'm waiting for some information. I mean, it's a sad story, obviously.
Shocking they never found the killer.
The Kobe one is disturbing. You see, like, just kind of what a prick he really kind of was. I mean, worked his ass off.
You knew that, though, right?
Yeah, I sort of did, but it's like the spin that gets put on someone's life and everything.
When they die.
Of course, when they die. Yeah. Now, I don't know what to make of Kobe, really. Like, it being someone that outworks everybody, which it sounds like he was. There's nothing wrong with that. He sounds kind of like a jerk.
Yep.
To, you know, teammates didn't really like him. You know, but
hated him.
Yeah, I know. But I get the feeling that having kids kind of changed him quite a bit.
You mean he didn't want to cheat on his wife publicly anime?
Maybe.
He didn't want to rape chicks anymore?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that story either. What happened in that Colorado hotel? He definitely got a lot of like, no, stop, no, and just pushed through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Push through.
He like, honestly, it wasn't the problem we all get to is when you talk about rape, so often it's like, you know, like Lake and Riley or something. Some guy jumps out of a bush, grabs you, throws you down, rips your clothes off, beats you, and rapes you. Like that violent, I don't know this person rape thing, or drugging someone at a bar and then waiting for them to pass out. Like, there's that. And then there's the, you know, Bill Burr did the famous bit about it. Like, you get a bad read in court, like, no, don't stop. It's like, she didn't say it, like, you know, like that whole thing where it's like, yeah, we've all kind of been there where it's
right.
You're gonna think I'm a whore. And it's like, no, I'm not.
No, it's like Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I mean, that's a very rapey song in 2025.
Yes, dude. Yes. It's the Christmas song. It's the fucking, it's
cold outside.
Baby, it's cold outside.
It is. Wait, what about that song with Benny Mardones? If I could fly, I'd lift you up and take you into the night. But it starts
I don't know that one.
Benny Mardones, it goes, she's just 15 years old. Leave her alone, they say.
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
Pull that up, Garrett. Into the night, Benny Mardones. You'll know it, but if you listen to the words, you go, oh,
shit. Yeah.
Oh, wait. She's just 15 and you're taking her into the night? What are we doing?
Yeah. What was the Motley Crue
how much we
one?
Get away with.
Check this out. Can you
nice
play it?
We can get a little bit in.
Oh my god.
I dropped it right in the right spot.
Look at him.
Yeah, these fools won't let me fuck his 15-year-old daughter.
He goes, if I could fly, I'd take her up. There you go.
Is he peering in the window?
Look at him.
Look at the picture.
That's not okay.
Yeah, he looks good in Prison Stripes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's funny. You could probably kill it before we have to think.
Yeah.
He talks about how he was just trying to help a friend's kid who had lost her parents, and he wanted to adopt her. And I'm like, I've heard that story before.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jared from Subway.
Yeah, sure. I remember I love it when I see these guys in bands, Motley Crue, like Nikki Sixx is all about, there she is. Hi, Oist. Hi.
Well,
He's talking about, abuse for women is uncalled for. And it's like, bro, I read your books. What are you talking about? You wrote lyrics like she's only 15. There's a reason that I can't sleep. They say illegal. I say legal's never been my thing. Like, dude, you're talking about fucking a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
No, what are you
Anthony Kiedis in his book? In Anthony Kiedis' book, he openly admitted to having a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old. It was just okay.
A lot of them have.
Yeah. It's right in his book, Scar Tissue. He just wrote about it.
I think. What's that?
Isn't that what they all say, though, at one point? I thought she looked at least 16.
Yeah, I thought she was at least legal. Yeah, so, but the disgusting thing in the Kobe Bryant stuff, dude, is the superstardom that comes with it, where you're at the court and you're holding picket signs up chanting Kobe is innocent. Kobe is innocent. It's like all they know is he plays for a team I really like. He dribbles basketball really good. Like, he's on my TV a lot and I got an autograph once. That's what you're basing your legal opinion on. And no one gives a shit. They destroyed that girl's life over it.
The problem you have there is that a lot of the allegations in some of these cases never happened. And so it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. You know what I mean? It's like, what are we doing? If they keep making false accusations, it's going to make people skeptical all the time. It's too bad, but there really is a nasty double-edged sword.
Well, the coverage of it back at the time was interesting too, because here he leaves trial and they're showing like what they're talking about at the trial. And it's like, they're showing pictures of her vagine to the courtroom. They didn't show it in the documentary, but with like lacerations and bruises. And then they get some doctor on the stand is like, yeah, this isn't consistent with regular, sexual intercourse, whatnot. And then it's like Kobe leaves, flies home to LA, joins a game in mid-progress, and drops the game winner at the buzzer with a standing ovation from the LA crowd. It's like, and SportsCenter's just covered it like, after a really exhausting and tough day for Kobe, he's the hero once again. And you're like, yeah, tough day when he was trying to get out of
no way they could do that in 2025. There's
no chance.
People would have a fit.
Yeah. It's the same thing we see over and over. These people aren't viewed as humans. These stories, when they unfold, and I'm guilty of it, I'm sure you are too. These stories become part of a TV show. They're not real. You don't know them. You don't know anyone that knows them, really. And so they're just people that are on your TV all the time. It might as well be.
What happens in everything, though. Everyone a team and they don't know what they're talking about. Like tariffs. By the way, Trudeau just caved.
I just looked. Yeah. I have the tweet from
this
Trudeau.
This was never happening. These tariffs were never happening.
Yeah, he's Trudeau right now, 50 minutes ago.
What's it say, Garrett? It's a little small.
Just had a call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination in our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Which later on in this, he says he's ensuring a fentanyl czar, which I think is the coolest name for somebody ever. Like, that sounds like a drug lord name. Like, I'm the fentanyl czar. The fentanyl czar.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then our proposed tariffs will be paused at least 30 days while we work together.
Yeah. Oh, so we took a card. I was wondering if that was going to be by tomorrow that happened or the end of the week.
Mexico was by this morning.
Yeah. Dude, when are people going to learn that this is just like, give it a minute, take a breath. He's documented a lot of this in the book he wrote that no one thinks he wrote.
Yeah.
The Art of the Deal, in how to deal with people in situations. And it's like, you can kind of get the cheat code by reading it. and understanding how he operates and how he works.
Except he has the biggest dick in the room with the United States economy.
Yeah.
I mean, that helps him a lot when he starts these negotiating tactics. Is he's just swinging it around, and he can. And I'm shocked no president's ever done this before. The amount of times this country gets shit on around the world, and we never retaliate, and now we should. It's like, all right, well,
yeah.
I heard an interesting take on it today from another show, and the guy was basically saying, he's like, I think we all forgot that America was never the good guy. Like, we were the ones who ran in the room with our dicks swinging out. Like, you better fucking respect or don't, and we'll fight you. It's like we used to just fight people who didn't respect us.
right.
And I think this is us kind of getting back to a little bit of our roots in America, where we just kind of like go, you do it our way, or we're gonna fucking fight you.
But this country is a force for good.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10
Overall.
But the one time, when this stuff comes up, you have to stand up to these little countries like Canada and say, you're ripping us off, man. Enough is enough. And to Mexico.
Yeah. Well,
you realize how much you need us now?
Yeah. Well, do you have the video? Because I know this ginned up a lot of people. A lot of people are like, Trump's about to get his. He's going to get his. Did you hear what Trudeau said today? Did you have the video of Trudeau? And I'm just like, dude, the amount of people that reach out to me, though, and will say that, like, yeah, this is the problem with a guy like Trump. This is what's going to happen. And I'm like, can you give it a breath? Can you give it a day? How about you give it a day before you go into
the warden think about all this
liberal panic? I don't talk to her about any of this shit. Are you nuts? No. But yeah, why don't we listen to Trudeau get tough? Excuse me. I'm sorry. I misspoke there. Prime Minister Blackface.
There you go.
Go ahead.
In the past, but we've always found a way to get past them. As I've said before, if President Trump wants to usher in a new golden age for the United States,
tough guy coming.
The better path is to partner with Canada, not to punish us. Canada has critical minerals, reliable and affordable energy, stable democratic institutions, shared values, and the natural resources you need.
We already have Alaska.
Canada has the ingredients necessary to build a booming and secure partnership for the North American economy, and we stand at the ready to work together. As neighbors, we must work collaboratively to fix this.
Must we?
Unfortunately, the actions taken today by the White House split us apart instead of bringing us together.
Yeah.
Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Ooh.
This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125
All right. I think we get the point.
Yeah.
He's such a clown. He's such a clown. The Canadians hate him.
Oh, they do. They do. I hear from Canadian listeners. They're hilarious. And I reached out to some of them and they're like, yeah, they understand what's going on. They're not.
Well, they want their balls back too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their
absolutely.
Has been destroyed by those policies.
Yeah, absolutely. So, have you ever even Googled like, hey, what is Canada famous for? What does Canada produce? Dude, it's
maple syrup.
It's
hockey.
Maple syrup, hockey,
Tim Hortons,
bacon,
poutine,
mediocre coffee,
fries with cheese on it, cheese curds. I think that's what that is.
I could do without those.
Yeah. I mean, Brian
Wisconsin
Adams.
has those.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. I
even we're kind of sick of him. Bieber's. That's Canada's fault.
You know what though?
Celine.
If they didn't cave, they were in deep shit.
Yeah.
Both of them. You see, the dollar already fell to like 0.63 cents to the dollar, the Canadian dollar.
Well, what do you think happens?
Man, they had to.
What do you think happens with this? Trump's tariffs have triggered a buy local response with the liquor and alcohol from its government-run outlets. Ontario Premier Doug Ford, I miss his brother, ordered the products to be off the shelves beginning on Tuesday. So tomorrow, U.S. alcohol products will also be taken out of catalogs, so other retailers cannot order or restock those items. Every year, we sell nearly $1 billion worth of American wine, beer, spirits, and seltzers. Not anymore. There has never been a better time to choose an amazing Ontario-made or Canadian-made product. Outgoing Prime Minister slapped tariffs against the blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do you think so his answer, the Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, was to yank all American prices so you can't even sell them here, and then take it out of the catalogs so you can't sell it here.
Okay,
so I
go
wonder
ahead.
how. Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing. Like, okay, dokie.
Yeah,
I mean,
now-
it's gonna
so-
hurt you more than it's gonna hurt the U.S.
Yeah.
Because Trump's contingency was to double the tariff if they didn't back down. Did you know that?
Yeah.
It was written right in there. If they didn't back down, it was going to be double tariff.
Yeah, he was gonna go bigger.
Yep.
Yeah, it's and so now so both sides of the border now are coming to play ball. It's crazy. But as soon as I saw Doug Ford's name, I immediately thought of Rob Ford. Do you remember Rob? Ford?
Yes, the guy in
Cocaine
Toronto.
mayor.
The guy in
The mayor of
Toronto.
Cocaine mayor.
Yeah. Do you remember his press conference? Dude, this guy was a legend. This guy was drunk. He was drunk on
was a
camera
lush.
quite a bit. He was a lush, but he was a crackhead too. And like,
Yeah.
there's
That had
pictures
to
of
be
him
great
like
content for Drew and Mike
Oh, dude,
back in the
I
day.
remember this. I remember this clip back in the day. Do you have the video of him press
Right here.
conference? Yeah.
They're calling a friend of mine a prostitute. Alana is not a prostitute. She's a friend, and it makes me sick how people are
Dare you
saying
call my
this.
friend
a Atlanta.
Unfortunately, I have no other choice. On the last one to take legal action, I can't put up with it anymore. So
Wait till
I've named
the end of
names.
this clip. The end of this clip
Litigation will
is
be starting
awesome.
shortly. I've had enough. That's why I warned you guys yesterday. Be careful what you wrote. Okay, so that's all I have to say for now. And the next thing I want to call Mayor Britannia in Hamilton and tell them that we're going to have to spank their little tiger cats. Oh, and the last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life tour. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home.
What about drinking and driving, Mayor? What about drinking and...
What did he say? I got more than enough what?
More than enough to eat at home.
Yeah.
I've never said that to a chick. Plus, I got plenty to eat at home.
He's dead now.
Yeah, he died.
Yep.
Do you have the pictures there? The pictures too. Him, the crack pipe and shit. He was our Marion Barry. They're Marion
Yeah.
Barry.
Legendary.
Just a rock star. I mean, I
yeah.
miss that guy. That guy was awesome in Toronto. There he is. There he is
that's
smoking
great.
crack. There he is hanging out with his homies. There he is with a crack pipe. Oh.
Big old fat Chris Farley looking mother.
Yeah. I think Farley played him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fucking hilarious, dude.
Legend.
Absolute legend.
There
Yes,
you go.
his brother was the one that was gonna took over there once Rob died. I think that's when Doug took over there, and
Oh, Doug's his brother?
yeah, Doug Ford.
It's kind of like the Dingleberries in Michigan just handed the job to their neighbor, to their wife.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dingle?
Yes, Representative Dingle. Yeah. It's always weird. I hate that. I mean, Joe Biden just gave his presidency essentially to his wife
Yeah.
a few years ago. I mean, we had I mean, at least she's a doctor, so we did have that going for us. We had the good doctor.
Her and Bill
helping us
Nye.
out. Yeah. Democrats have been mocked over their weekend leadership retreat. I don't know if you saw video from their weekend as they were picking a new chair for the DNC. They did lay out some rules before their vote. It's a little confusing. I hope you guys can follow the rules that they
Okay.
set out. So do you have the video there, Garrett?
Yeah.
And this is, let's see, former DNC chair Jamie Harrison announcing the rules.
The rules specify that when we have a gender non-binary candidate or officer, the non-binary individual is counted as neither male nor female, and the remaining 6 offices must be gender balanced. With the results of the previous 4 elections, our elected officers are currently 2 male and 2 female. In order to be gender balanced, we must
Okay.
elect one male, one female, and one person of any gender. So again,
Okay.
this is what we have to do for this vice chair race. We have to elect one male, one female, and one person of any gender. To ensure our process accounts for male, female, and non-binary candidates, we conferred with our RBC co-chair, our LGBT caucus co-chair, and others to ensure that the process is inclusive and meets the gender balance requirements in our rules. To do this, our process will be slightly different than the one outlined to you earlier this week, but I hope you will see that in practice it is simple and transparent. The order of balloting is designed to ensure equal access to the ballot, regardless of gender identity. As we must elect a candidate of any gender as well as one male and one female vice chair, we will first ask members to elect a candidate of any gender on the first ballot.
Okay.
Any candidate, male, female, and
hold on, I
non-binary,
need
can
my
be
paper.
elected on that ballot. After a candidate is elected on the first ballot, we'll have one officer of the three, so then we will know which position is filled of the one male, one female, and one vice chair of any gender.
Okay.
Okay.
Our second ballot would also be for a candidate of any gender.
Okay.
And our third ballot will be the third position that is remaining based on the two results. Either a male candidate if a candidate that is not male has not been elected, or a female candidate if a female has not been elected.
Great. Okay.
And they ended
I
up
got
with
that.
2 white males.
Yeah.
Here's my note. It's this guy sucks cock.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got.
You know what? This sucks. This is really hard for me because I was never good at story problems in school. Like if they just gave me a math question, I could usually do okay. But when they did that, a train traveling at 10 miles an hour going for 3,000 miles, like when they got into that kind of stuff, I really struggled. And I feel like that was one of those story problems from grade school. And I don't know if you elected a male, you would have to elect a female or a non-binary and vice versa. I'm not sure exactly how that goes. I'm glad they're still playing this game though. Did you see one of the chicks who was up? I thought she was good. She didn't end up getting the seat. Do we have her? I believe her name was what was it? What's the other video I had there, Garrett?
The DNC sings.
Yeah, that one. She
right.
she was good. I thought she put up a strong case of why she should be in the leadership role. If you have that there, Garrett, please.
Yep, right here.
Here we go.
And we'll begin with the opening statements. Each candidate will have 30 seconds, and we'll start with Dr. Quintessa Hathaway.
All right, doctor.
Good evening, everyone. It is my desire to be the next DNC chair,
Okay.
and I just want to give you all a little bit of something that's been on my heart here over the last couple of days.
Okay.
You fight on, you fight on, you fight on, you fight on. When your government is doing you wrong, you fight on, oh, you fight on.
Well, that's all I needed to hear. I've heard enough.
This was a Whitest Kids You Know sketch way back in like 2003.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they're riding this bike because it was going to lead to 8 years of JD Vance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is so stupid. And then did you see the videos of them all dancing?
Yeah. I mean, at which event? They do it all. She wasn't the only one that broke into song, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Like David Hogg ended up being the vice chair. David
White
Hogg.
guy.
No.
Yes.
Well, the best part is at least they picked a gay guy.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
true.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand what they're going for here. I honestly fucking don't.
They wanted a guy who survived a mass shooting, by being in a different building altogether.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The Democrat Party right now is a coalition of losers. They've put together this coalition of losers. That's all it is.
Activists.
Yes, losers and activists.
Yeah.
And that's not going to win any general election. That's why that poll was out the other day that said this is the lowest since polling started that people feel about the Democrat Party.
Yeah, like
It's
31%
bad. They're in
approval.
bad shape.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
do you
it was Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac did. Yep. Do you like it's fun to laugh at this and just like this is so bad. But at the same time it's not good for the country. Like do you hope they get their shit together and this
No.
nonsense off? I mean, I kind
No,
of
it's
don't
good for the
either, but
country. It's good for the country because they'll keep losing.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great, like, you can hold that up to just a room of normal people and you can just have half the room turn on them immediately. Like,
Right.
I'm out.
Right.
Like, after you see that, it's like, okay, I was a supporter before. Now I see what they're up to. I'm out.
This can't
People
work
look at
much
him and
longer
say-
though. This just
It didn't
can't work much longer though, because it's not. They're not getting the glowing coverage and the people showing up. The people have had enough. Like they're gonna have
Yeah.
to switch gears. Have to.
Well, it's not just that. They keep going so far one-upping each other and how liberal they can be that they're chasing away their best names. Like that's how Rogan became more of a right-wing guy and Tulsi Gabbard,
yeah.
Rob F. Kennedy. It's like they're
Elon
chasing
Musk.
out their own people. Yeah.
Elon Musk is a
was a
great
lib.
one.
Yeah.
And
it's like
and
they're going
in
so
response
ridiculous.
to that, you don't try to win him back. You try to fucking bury him in racism and misogyny claims. Like, wow.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Hey, I'm loving it. I'm here for it all.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't talk to you last week, Greg. What did you think of the plane crash over the Potomac?
Honestly, I just think it was a tragic accident.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Understaffed in the air traffic control tower. Apparently, I think that helicopter pilot looked at the wrong plane.
I
locked-
heard that.
Yeah,
Is that
I-
they had somebody who was a little bit further out that they thought was the plane coming at him, and it wasn't that one. Unfortunately, yeah, I think it was just a bad accident.
They were looking at the one in front. And I think what it does, though, is it highlights just how stressful those big airports can be. You know,
Yeah.
when you're up in the air, you can't afford to make one mistake. I heard the analogy was every mistake that happened, that could have happened, happened. It was like flying through Swiss cheese, and they got through all the holes but the last one. You know,
Yeah.
and it was just, I think that was just a horrible accident, to be honest.
But
I know
does
people
it,
want to talk about DEI and
No.
this
Yeah.
female pilot, but I mean, I don't think that had anything to do with it.
No.
No, I don't either, but it does. I heard some pilots and some former tower guys are talking about the level of detail that goes into those types of situations where it's like, yeah, I know we're listening to the tape and the guy says, "Hey, can you see the plane in front of you?" And the pilot says, "Yeah, I see that plane." It's kind of on them to go way further than that in like making sure that what you're seeing is actually what's in front of you and not off to the right, left, above, below. Like there's a lot more detail that goes into it when you're trying to make exactly sure that that's what you're seeing. And for whatever reason, whether it's lack of staffing, whether it's fucking DEI, who knows, that wasn't done. And that's the sort of like perfection you need.
The only problem that could have happened here is they had turned away a bunch of candidates because they weren't the right color. Now, maybe if they just hired some good air traffic controllers, they wouldn't have been down one man. But I don't know how much of that is how much of that.
Yeah.
Also is that chopper was apparently flying a little too high, and had it been at the correct altitude, would not have hit the jet. They're supposed to be at 200 feet.
200 feet instead of 300. Yeah.
Which
But-
it would have been a narrow miss anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking back at, because there's a great video I'll play here in a second of Ted Cruz. I don't know if you saw that, Greg, where he's talking to Biden's nomination for FAA chief.
Oh yeah.
Washington. And I'm reading the article about it, and it's just, and this goes back to March of 23 and this is an NBC News article, and just the way it's delivered. And then we'll listen to the questioning and see who was right. So Biden's choice to run the Federal Aviation Administration has withdrawn his nomination, a setback for the administration that comes after CEO Philip Washington appeared to lack enough support. He appeared to. Unfortunately, an onslaught of unfounded Republican attacks on Mr. Washington's service and experience irresponsibly delayed this process, threatened unnecessary procedural hurdles on the Senate floor, and ultimately have led him to withdraw his nomination today, despite Senate Republicans' months-long, relentless campaign to sink the nomination of a qualified military veteran. Our administration that believes service in uniform is an asset. Pete Buttplug Buttigieg
There you go.
called him an excellent nominee and blamed undeserved and partisan attacks. The FAA needs a confirmed administrator, and Phil Washington's transportation and military experience made him an excellent nominee. The partisan attacks and procedural obstruction he has faced are undeserved, but I respect his decision and am grateful for his services. Republicans were united in opposition, calling him unqualified because of limited aviation experience. Democrats still might have pushed the nomination through, but key senators on their side balked. So let's take a look at part of his nomination process and see if he was, in fact, the guy to run the fucking FAA.
You ever flown a plane?
Thank you for the question, Senator. No, I have never flown a plane.
So you weren't a military pilot or a commercial airline pilot?
No, Senator.
Have you ever worked for an airline?
No, Senator.
Have you ever worked as an air traffic controller?
No, Senator.
You ever worked for a company that manufactures airplanes?
No, Senator.
You ever worked for a company that fixes airplanes?
No, Senator.
FAA administrator is a specialized position. I'm not qualified to be FAA administrator. I have no idea how to fly a plane. No one in their right mind would put me in charge of aviation safety because I don't have that experience. I suspect most of the members of this committee are in a similar position. The American people, when they think about aviation safety, when they think about, I played in this committee, a Southwest Airlines and FedEx plane almost colliding at Austin's airport. They want an FAA administrator who knows why those planes crash and knows how to fix it to keep them safe. And with all respect, Mr. Washington, it gives no comfort to the flying public that their pilot might be a transgendered witch, but doesn't actually know how to prevent the plane from crashing into the ground and killing them. I believe your record is woefully lacking. And in fact,
The woman next
you
to
have
me
zero
trying to crack.
aviation safety experience.
Yeah. I mean, so if people are wondering, like, how dare Trump come in and mention DEI or it's stuff like that that makes people, I just assumed all these years ago about you. I just assumed somebody smarter than me had this shit. This stuff was being run by professionals in an industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want smarter people flying my planes. You know, I don't want to tell these guys what to do. I mean, that's the thing, though, is that we've gotten so far deep into identity politics that's all that mattered the last 4 years was what was between your legs or the color of your skin. And now that's not mattering anymore. And that's why they're getting rid of they saved $1 billion. Elon Musk shutting down DEI initiatives within the government. They saved $1 billion on that. That's how it's a grift. Anytime stuff like this happens, it's a grift. BLM was a grift. DEI is a grift. All of it is a grift to get your tax dollars. And that's what Trump's been saying is we're not doing it anymore. We're not allowing these grifters to get rich on this stuff.
But you wonder why it gets to a point where it's like, you're seeing the end result of years of this sort of stuff that some of us have sort of been paying attention to along the road. So Trump doesn't give a shit. He's done like trying to play ball about some of this stuff, and you're seeing it play out. And videos like that are why would he even mention DEI? They haven't even recovered. The bodies aren't even, well, they are cold because they were in the Potomac, but we haven't even recovered all the bodies, and he's mentioning DEI. It's shit like this, where it's like, are we really right here? Like, I just assumed, if you're even up for nomination of the FAA, you've got the background to back that up.
Right.
That just goes without saying.
You should be infuriated that they try to push these people through, or that when they get knocked down, they run to a microphone and call people racist and
Right.
say it was unwarranted attacks. You should be furious. People got to pay attention, and it's harder and harder because neither side minds lying now.
Right.
Like they run to a mic and they spin it how they want, and it's out of control, frankly. And
Yeah.
so I don't blame the average American for not being able to follow it, because you got to hear both sides and then pick one, because no one's going to tell you the truth. Mainstream media used to do that. Now
that's my problem with this article from NBC from a couple years ago,
Mhm.
where it's like, I think the media has a responsibility to write an article like, here's what happened. Here was what the Democrats were trying to put forward as the guy running the FAA. Here's why there's a problem with that. And like, give some sort of assessment, not like, well, they call them unqualified because of, limited. It's like limited or none. Like, never been a pilot, never been a fucking air traffic control, not someone that rose up in that world and became an undeniable superstar in that field who happens to be a black guy. Okay, that's fine. But no, like, it should matter. Do you think it matters in our line of work, Greg, if they hire someone to be a PD or a GM at a radio station with zero radio experience at all, never done a show? I suppose that doesn't matter necessarily. Do you see a difference in those things?
Well, we're not killing people when we mess up.
Yeah. Yes.
But I mean, they have hired guys to run radio stations I've worked at who were promotion guys.
Yeah.
Who didn't know how to program a radio station, didn't know what a talent was, didn't know what a liner was, didn't know anything, didn't know how to deal with the automation.
Traffic department.
Yeah. This guy, the guy they hired at DFN that almost torpedoed that station, came from hanging banners at WNIC.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And I've seen it, and it happens a lot. And a lot of times it's people hiring their buddies,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. We've all seen that. And I was coming back on the same thing that you talked about. At the end of the day, what's the worst thing that happens? You go to CSX and hire an absolute shitbag who just happens to be your buddy you went to high school with. He's going to run CSX now. He's not heading up the promotions or the sales team. He's the PD. He's kind of running the overall of the whole thing. What's the worst that happens? He takes a fucking historic radio station and runs it into the dirt, and it goes out. You lose that business. It's not the same thing when you're dealing with the FAA chief.
Right.
Like you're talking about we keep going back to the same thing when it's like, oh, here's a video of a firefighter. You're not sure if it's a fat lesbian woman or a fucking gay guy going, when someone saves you, you want them to look like you. It's like, yeah, literally said no one ever. No one ever made that claim. You invented that claim.
No one cares. If a hot lesbian wants to pull me out of a fire and give me mouth to mouth, I'm down.
I'm down. And if it's tragic enough of a situation, I don't even care if the fucking gay guy does it. Drags me out of there and gives me mouth to mouth. As long as we get the job done at the end of the day and we're still breathing.
What if he's trying to inflate you?
As long as it's not Garrett, I'm fine.
Inflate or folate.
Yeah, right.
Garrett's like, I saw this move on the vest on the airplane.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why Garrett wanted to be in some sort of service to his country. He's the first guy to raise his hand to do mouth to mouth on anything.
I've gone through firefighter training. I was certified for a while.
When they show you your flotation device and they say you can blow into it.
Yeah, I'm really good at that.
Garrett's like,
hold on, watch this one pull.
I'm going to inflate everybody on the plane.
It's those things, though. It's like, to me, fine. You want to take W name it radio station and drive it into the dirt. It doesn't affect me in the least. I don't care.
And you can always fix it, right? It's the difference between playing Springsteen or Aha, and
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? If you want to drive it into the ground, guess what? The signal still exists, and someone can come in there that is competent, that does know how to put a playlist together, that does know how to recognize talent and stack them in time slots to make a compelling day part, evening part, overnight part, to put put a station together that works, has a competent traffic department and sales wing. You can always do that next year. You can bring that guy in, and we've all had good leadership and shit leadership. We've all seen it. We know it. But when you're dealing with stuff like this, like, guess what? I fly in planes too. And I have to soundly sit in that plane with the belief that whatever's going on up there and whatever's going on with their announcements, they got it. They got this shit. I can't be worried about it.
Do you realize in most areas of your life, you have to rely on competent people? Even when you're driving down the road, you need to rely on the guy next to you not being an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you go to the doctor, you got to have them, be smart. You go to the pharmacist, you got to make sure they're not putting the wrong pills in your order. It's like, it's a very basic that you have to expect other people or society falls apart. You need basic competence out of everyone you interact with. And that's when people, when that doesn't happen, that's when people die.
Well, that's the thing with the government being run the way it is that is so troubling to so many of us, is that you just assumed that the guy driving down the road next to you isn't a fucking maniac who's just going to turn the wheel into you. Like we all play that game of chicken every day.
It happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. And we just assume that people in leadership roles kind of have it. This idea that we're going to spend the next 4 years, every time Trump does something that he, by the way, said he was going to do, 100% ran on it and won on it. I'm going to bring Elon Musk in with this Doge group, and they're coming in with a fucking hacksaw. And everyone went, I can get behind that. And so
everyone
now,
walked in, ching, we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. We voted for it.
Yeah.
And did all you could to keep all the restrictions away from people being able to stop it.
But you know what the best part is? You know what they're showing now? They're showing that you can change the government. For the longest part, people just stopped trying. Do you remember when we used to be concerned about the debt? And then all of a sudden we don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I think people stopped trying because they didn't think there was any way it would ever change. And that's the most encouraging thing, is it appears that things are changing, that they're making meaningful changes. Now, I don't know how long they'll last because he doesn't have any legislation. It's all executive order, which means it's temporary.
Yep.
So what he needs to do is get this thing right-sized, get a budget in place, and then get it through Congress.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the important part.
And people need to see results. People need to see, like, okay, I can see where this is going, that it's on the right track. USAID, like every time he shuts something down and people flip out, I
love it.
I do too. I mean, it doesn't, every time you've got some weird named organization, USAID, for international development, agency for international development. It's just like, yeah, 50 million here, $1 billion there, 100 country over here. You hardly heard about reproduction rights in the Sudan. And you're just like, what? Okay. And then these guys come in and go, yeah, all of it, stop. And we need to get behind the doors and see what's going on here. And they try to put up stops. No, oh God, you can't come in here. What do you mean we can't come in here and take a look at these records and see what the fuck you guys are doing? And so now they're just halting everything. I mean, I don't know enough about the U.S. aid program, but my guess is I don't know. I'm glad someone's coming in and taking a knife to it all, though.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I just, this shows how it could work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about. It's showing how it could work.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you don't have a ton of time today, Greg, but what did you think of Myles Garrett requesting a trade today? Well, he came out and said today, as a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and that goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions of my life. These past 8 years have shaped me into the man I am today. Well, I've loved calling this city my home. My desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It has always been to compete for and win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, I have requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. 2 years left on his deal. What do you think of these guys that don't like their situation and request trades, want out, that kind of thing.
I think he's stuck it out long enough. You know what I mean? They're not going anywhere down there. And
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Only the select few can force a trade like this, and that's the guys who are really top end. But I guess I don't blame them. And if Cleveland can trade him and get somebody else, get some draft picks. I don't have a huge problem with it because he's not forcing it. He'll play if he doesn't get traded. He's asking for one. I don't know if he'll hold out or not. He hasn't indicated that.
Yeah. Well, their general manager, Andrew Barry, came out and said, I think you could assume that we do anticipate at some point doing a third contract with Miles. We want him to retire here. He was also asked if he would reject a trade offer for Garrett that included 2 first-round picks. Correct. You could put that on the record.
No chance. He'll take 2 picks. He'll take 2 picks from a shitty team.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think twice about taking it from the Lions just because it's going to be the 30th or 29th pick, in the next couple of years. But, you'll take it. 2 first-round picks from a top 10, from a bottom 10 team. Hell yes. Hell yes.
Well,
and don't look back.
Yeah. So what would you be willing to give up for? Can you imagine the Lions adding a piece like Myles Garrett?
People, I'm not willing to give up much.
No. I mean, what would that take?
I would give up a 1 now and a 1 down the road, 3 years down the road. I'm not giving up any current picks because they're 30th and they're going to be starters for the Lions, but they're not really valuable for other teams. You know what I mean? Like if I'm Cleveland, I don't want 1 or 2 Lion picks. I want 4 number ones because they're going to be bad picks.
Yeah.
Unless they think they can get 2 and then trade up. I don't see a scenario where the Lions could make a deal without parting with Jahmyr Gibbs or somebody like that.
I was just going to say Jahmyr Gibbs. To me, no. Like,
no.
I don't think you give up him. I don't know who you would on the current roster be willing to part with.
Nobody. I mean, they don't have a ton of depth to begin with. I mean, maybe I would consider David Montgomery, but they're not going to trade him for Myles Garrett.
No. They talk about teams, obviously teams, when they've got a big superstar, a lot of teams don't want to trade them in conference, certainly not in division. Cleveland or Cincinnati Bengals would be a good one, need all the help they can get on the defensive side, but they're cheap as shit.
Here's the thing, though. You don't need Myles Garrett. You need a serviceable, good defensive end on the other side of Hutch. Like you could put a rookie like Jack Sawyer over there and get the same production. You already got Myles Garrett. Maybe you got better than Myles Garrett. So all you need to do is put somebody over there who can hold up while he chases down quarterbacks. That's my firm belief. You just get a Sawyer. You get someone who can go over there and be good. Doesn't have to be Myles Garrett.
Well, what does it look like with a Myles Garrett? Have we seen that historically where guys have, is this like Joe Klecko and Mark Gastineau? Is it like that kind of pairing that you'd see like the Steel Curtain in Pittsburgh in the 70s? Like,
yeah, it might be. I mean, the Lions at one point had Bubba Baker and William Gay.
Yeah.
Back when the Silver Rush was good in the late 70s. It would be really fucking good. But the reason you don't see it anymore is because you can't pay 2 edge guys. So you want to go out and get a young edge guy on a rookie deal like Jack Sawyer or somebody like that. Like the Lions are predicted to take an edge in the first round no matter what. And then you hope the guy pops quick, right?
Yeah.
And then you have that until he's gone because he's going to get paid somewhere.
Yeah. Why can those guys not pop right away? I get it with cornerback. Cornerback to me is a wasted pick because it's unless it's Sauce Gardner or Deion Sanders, those guys take 4 years before they really kind of get the speed and the tempo of NFL offenses down. There's just such a huge difference between an NFL speed. But those you're beating one guy one-on-one. Like, what are they learning?
But they are popping off. Like both Bosa's popped, Aiden Hutchinson popped, Myles Garrett popped. Thibodeau in New York popped for a little bit. I think
Yeah.
you're learning tendencies. You're learning technique. I mean, you can get a first round pick. Like if, and I'm using Jack Sawyer's name, but there's 3 guys in that category that will be available to the Lions. The kid from A&M. And you know what makes those guys pop? When Hutch is taking up 2 blockers on the other side.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah.
I love when people do that when they're like, oh yeah, this line, once Hutch wasn't there, it was like these guys stopped playing. And it's like, yeah, they didn't have double and triple teams taking fucking half the line away from them. What do you mean?
Right.
Like,
And McNeil,
you understand that's a unit. Yeah,
right.
Elaine McNeil did great.
But when he went down.
But yeah, done.
Yeah, I
Zero
don't get it. I think they can get an edge who can start this year in the first round. And I think that's what they'll look for, an edge, a defensive lineman, and a linebacker, because I don't really see any huge need on offense, maybe in the 3rd round, a lineman.
Yeah.
Start developing.
Does any part of you feel like, you know what, fuck these guys? You signed you signed a 5-year deal. You're 3 years into it. You got 2 years to go. Eat shit, man. See you in training camp.
Yeah, who's saying no?
Well, no one yet, but a lot of these guys do it.
Oh.
I'm 3 years in. I don't like where I am. It's like part of me goes, well, Miles, you were given $100+ million or whatever you were given to be that guy in Cleveland. And like, okay, it hasn't worked. So now everybody wants to go to a Super Bowl contender.
You feel the same about Calvin Johnson when he had his money taken away and didn't want to give it back, even though he signed a deal?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Fuck
no,
off,
I know.
Man. You took the money. You wanted the security, and now you want more money. I mean, that's bullshit, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember these guys ever having this much pull, and maybe, it's just not the way the league ran decades ago. But if you signed a 5-year deal, you were there for 5 years, period. But these guys unless they cut you. Yeah, that's the other part of this argument that they can, but take that up with the Players Association.
Part of the deal. You signed the collective bargaining agreement. It's your own fault.
Yeah.
No player will admit they signed it, though. Not one
really?
player I've ever asked has admitted they signed the salary cap deal.
Yeah. But they could change it. Going to the Players Association, you've got a union to deal with that. I don't know. We'll see. What do you think is going to happen at quarterback for the Lions this offseason? Some stories creeping out. I saw one about Hendon Hooker being a casualty. You think he goes anywhere?
Who cares?
I know. We haven't seen much from him. I didn't like the pick coming out of Tennessee because he was 25 years old.
The problem is
like,
they benched him for Bridgewater.
I know.
What does that tell you? I mean, I don't care what he does as long as Goff's healthy, but the Lions got to stop dicking around. They need to get a real backup.
Yeah.
Because you're screwed anyway if Goff goes down, but what if he goes down for 3 weeks and you have a guy who is at least serviceable? They don't have that now. They got to quit screwing around.
Who would be a guy like that? A Jimmy Garoppolo, a Sam Darnold?
Darnold. But now Darnold's going to get paid somewhere. I wouldn't pay him, but the Colts, or not the Colts, the Vikings lucked out. They had a guy who could step in and be serviceable, and he was more than serviceable.
Yeah,
there are guys around the league that you could get like that. I mean, even Daniel Jones was available.
Oh, dude, it sickens me that he went to Minnesota. It was like, are you kidding me? Why would you let him get to Minnesota?
When you have Hendon Hooker, who may end up being good, but what's he, 27 now?
27, dude. It's just, and on a rookie deal, like as a 25-year-old rookie, you're like, yeah, dude, his prime is right now, age-wise.
Well, maybe a quarterback you can get through to like 35.
Yeah, but you want him when they're he's in it now, but he's nowhere near a starting level guy or a guy that you'd rely on. He did show me signs in the game he got in.
Yeah.
I don't remember when that was, where it was like, okay, maybe there's something here. He throws a pretty ball and he definitely can use his legs. The move to Teddy Bridgewater kind of surprised me.
Me too.
Did it?
What does that tell you?
Yeah. What does that tell us? That the coaching staff.
I was shocked.
Yeah. That was a very specific late season move by that organization. That can only mean one thing, right? That whatever, like he's not picking it up in practice or.
They don't love him is what it means.
Yeah.
Because if they loved him, they would have not even thought of bringing a high school football coach back who hadn't played all year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nuts, dude. It's nuts.
Yeah. As long as Goff's healthy, the Lions are fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Greg, thank you so much for doing this today, buddy. I appreciate it.
You leaving early today?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what are you doing? Aren't you, don't you have shit going on?
Oh, I always do.
What did you think of, what did you make of the Justin Tucker story last week?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I always question whether or not it's a money grab. Always. You know, Deshaun Watson, he paid them all off. They all took it. Not one of them went to court.
Yeah.
You know? So that always makes me wonder. It's only because there have been so many lies.
What do you think they were sitting on this story?
Till when?
All these things, like these accusations are between 2012 and 2016.
Who would sit on it though?
I mean, were the Ravens like, look, just wait till this guy falls off a bit and then you can release your stupid story? Like, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know, man. I thought
out.
more likely fell off because he knew it was coming out and he's a mess.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's my brother said that too. Like, this explains why the guy that's like the most accurate in NFL history,
best kicker in NFL history,
had a garbage year, knowing dude, this would be really hard to not have weigh in on you.
I don't believe much of this stuff without evidence because look what happened to the punt god, Ariza.
Yeah.
I mean, they ruined his life. And then she retracted everything. I mean, it's absolutely, it's not easy to, I tend to not pick sides till we know more, just because how many times are we going to get burned, Duke Lacrosse?
Oh yeah. But
or,
Duke Lacrosse
the Virginia sorority or fraternity that got written up in Rolling Stone, which was a lie.
All bullshit. Duke Lacrosse is the worst. Totally, I get those. This one and Matt Arija was bullshit. You know, I sniffed the rat there right away.
As soon as he signed, she went after him.
Yeah, yeah.
He got that big contract.
It's a little different when you have 6 women from different massage parlors that don't know each other. You don't think that's any different?
Let's see the evidence. That's all I want to know.
But you wouldn't have cameras in there. It would be their words. No. And the fact that they're all telling similar stories doesn't like, you don't think he was getting rock hard in those fucking sessions and smacking his dick on their arms and stuff?
Maybe. But, you know, my other thing is, I don't know. It's a hard topic to talk about because I don't know what happened in there, but I know a lot of people lie for money. And that's why I'm never willing to jump in and believe anything anyone says without some evidence.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, I don't know what kind of evidence you could get in a case like Justin Tucker.
Did any of them have it happen more than once? I don't know.
It sounds like most of them.
Was it a one-off?
Yeah, literally. I think they were. One-offs. And then he's busting a nut on the table and shit and leaving it like a calling card. Well, I mean,
that would be the calling card.
Yeah. And then his lawyer was like, that could have been sweat.
So you're saying there's DNA?
Yeah, you would think. But dude, this is the problem. This is the whole problem when it's like 2012 to 2016. And it's like,
been a long time.
Yeah, that was 9 years ago.
That's another thing, you know, that always makes me skeptical.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I know. It's just, it seems like a well-sourced article, you know, when you're looking through so many of these media outlets.
I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying I don't know if I believe them.
What do the Ravens do?
Probably knowing the hysteria that goes on in this day and age, probably move on.
You think?
That's what I'm thinking. It would take a big, huge set of balls in an organization to not move on if they believe it. And like you're partially believing it, so why wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know.
No, but with the way you presented it to me, you said they all have similar stories and this and that. So,
yeah.
I mean, if it's believable enough for half the audience to believe it, then they got to probably cut bait on it, I would think.
See, I had a different take on Deshaun Watson. I didn't like that they were all coming from like the hooker porn cap and he was flying them all to Texas where he was and stuff. It seemed like, okay, those chicks knew what they were in for. There was something fishy about the story. Not saying they didn't all fall in that trap, but I think this is common for a lot of these guys. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think all think these
what?
chicks want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
you gave a bunch
true
of
in
really
a lot of
competitive
cases.
19 to early 20-year-olds a lot of money. They're gonna fuck up. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
look at J-Mo.
Yeah, there's that, and let's be honest, Greg. A lot of these chicks do want it.
The money.
Yeah,
they want it, and that dick.
Well, because they want to tell their friends they got it.
Yeah,
well, just like they want the baby.
If all goes well, they'll get pregnant.
Yeah,
that's money for life.
Yeah,
yeah. It doesn't take
at least the next 18 years.
What's that, Greg?
Well, especially girls who are working as masseuses, that's not exactly going to lead a career. That's not a career.
Yeah,
for most people. So.
Yeah, no, and if
masseuses.
No, I get it. It's hard for most people to understand just what that life is like for a lot of those guys. Any of them on those professional rosters. If you spend any time around them, you see how people react in their presence and how people behave. We've seen it. And it's not normal for any of them.
Man,
and so
it's funny because the Pistons went back in the heyday.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have nailed a girl an hour if they wanted to.
I always think about it. I always think about it like these guys are around my age. Well, I'm a little bit older now than most of these people. I'm 27. So it's one of those things where it's like back in my day, if you gave me that kind of money and fame, how would I react? Because I'm not too far away from that. I'm like, oh, dude, I would have been horrible. Like just knowing what I liked back then, knowing what I was into, what I was looking for. It's like, I would have ended up probably dead.
Yeah, it would have been one woman after another if I was famous.
Yeah. It's the Tiger Woods story. It's like Tiger Woods, and it's like 200 chicks and people are blown away. I'm like, dude, put yourself in Tiger Woods' shoes, where every restaurant, every store, every place you go, you literally have a hot chick holding her hand up like, please. You want me to do it?
Okay.
Go
take it the next step. He's married, likely isn't getting any puss.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. Every guy can relate to the nookie getting cut way back after marriage. Every guy.
Yeah.
So you go, okay, well, if you're not interested, you won't mind if I step out, will you?
Yeah. And then it's happening at the fucking Waffle House.
No, Perkins.
Literally any restaurant you go into, the waitress is like, here are your pancakes. How would you like getting blown in the bathroom real quick before you leave?
Yeah. It'd be pretty hard to say no.
Like, think about it as a guy. You're just at the Waffle House, and that's proposed to you. Like,
and football players are not, or any athlete is not really known to be like the intellects among us. They're usually just very competitive dudes who want to fuck.
Hey, I could have an IQ of 400, and I'm still taking you up on that.
Yeah, dude. I remember I was talking about it last week when talking about this story, and we would do Monday night football. Like Tuesday was league day off, and so unless guys were getting treatment, that was their day off. That was their weekend, was Monday night. So if you didn't have a game Monday night, you could go out, and so I would take like anywhere from 5 to 10 of these guys in a party bus, and we'd go to a bar and give out T-shirts, and it got to the point where like bar owners would be like, hey man, we love having you and the guys here. Everybody knows half the Lions team. And it was sometimes it's the starting offensive line and sometimes it's the defensive backfield. Sometimes it's a mix of these guys, usually not Barry Sanders and fucking, you're starting quarterback, but there's a lot of guys on the team and they're all wearing that logo and those pants too. And dude, it got to the point where those bar owners be like, hey man, you just got to do me a favor. These guys have to keep their pants on when they're in the bar. Like if you can just keep and I swear to you, Greg,
big fat offensive lineman hanging out.
Dude, I'd go on the party bus and be like, okay, guys, look, I know,
offensive line.
Don't mind this, but they've just got one thing. You got to keep your pants on when you're in the bar. And be like, high fives, walk out the door, and fucking 5 minutes later, there's one. I'm like, dude, pants off.
They're in the back of the bus going, Yana, does that mean the bathroom?
No, dude, I went on the back of the party bus one night and a buddy of mine is back there just drilling some fucking absolute fucking knockout and not a player. And I'm like, what's going on back here, Sheely's? He's like, oh, I just said I was a third string quarterback. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. It made sense because you're with all the guys.
Well, she wants to go home and tell her dad she banged a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. She has no idea who it is. And it's like, nah, they might know who the second string quarterback is. I'm going to go with third string quarterback. No one knows who the fuck that is.
I'm the kicker.
I had a buddy that would tell chicks, yeah, I'm the backup wings goalie. I'm the backup goalie. And it was like, yeah, no one knows who that is. But guess what? It works too.
Yeah, it does.
Like, on the bus, wide open night, just fucking going to Pound Town. You're like, and I'm the fucking, you know what, ringleader here, trying to keep it all together. Like, you keep your pants on. You fucking dude, what are you doing back here? Like, and then there were certain guys on the team, Greg, that would walk on the bus, take one look around, dude, and they just be like, nope, I'm out of here, and they just fucking want nothing to do with it. So you're. Yeah, I don't know. Is it right? Is it wrong? I'm just telling you what the reality is.
It is.
For a lot of these guys.
That's why I don't believe any of it. That's why I don't believe any of it. But my opinion doesn't matter. I don't believe the players or the girls. Any of them.
Yeah. When you start getting into he said, she said of all this stuff, it gets really hard.
Yep.
It gets,
well, you both put yourself in that situation. I'm out, you know?
Yeah. It's tough.
I can tell you who wasn't getting his Johnson tugged at a rub down. Me. That's who.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. I believe
it's
it.
a little easier in my game. The money doesn't really matter in the gay community.
In the gay community, no. Yeah, you're all fine.
You know what? I talked to my buddy who's gay, and I'm like, there's no barrier of entry to just having wild sex as a gay guy. There's no baby.
Not really. No.
There's not going to be any baby. You know,
you want to make sure they're tested. I mean, there are diseases like the same as anybody else, but as long as they're both clean, it doesn't matter. You can just go for it.
It's just like, hey, you see that closet over there, gay friend? Why don't we go help each other out?
Why don't you bang a chick every time you go on a first date? Well, because there's a barrier called a chick who won't allow it. That's why.
Well, also the repercussions
now you remove that barrier, like guy on guy,
and not just the chick barrier. I mean, like, think of the guy barrier. It's like, I could get her this night, but what if I'm stuck with her for the next 18 years in some way? You know, it's like there's that fear. You don't have to worry about that with the guys.
With women, you have to deal with
stop.
Maybe.
Then you're in court later. No, stop. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Not there.
Yeah, not there. Wrong one.
Obviously, that's what it's going to come out as.
The old Bill Burr bit. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, thank you so much, buddy. I will hit you up later this week. Let's do another one.
All right, guys.
This is getting fun watching this all go down and watching people freak out. I got to admit.
I'm in heaven.
Oh, yeah. Heaven, I tell you. It's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. It's great.
Yeah. I know Garrett loves the chaos.
I love it.
Me too.
They were like, well, how could you do that? I'm like, because it's fun.
I voted for all of this and more.
Yeah. I know. I did too. Too. We're watching it. It's crazy how fast it's going. All right, Greg. I will see you out. And then what's that?
I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Take care.
All right, Garrett, let's do an email or two and get out of here.
Sounds good. Any reads?
Yeah, I could do a read. Why not? Let's see. Which one do I have? This part of the show. Thank you, Garrett. This part of the show is brought to you by your insurance expert. Are you paying too much for health insurance? Are you uninsured? Health insurance can be confusing. Nick Matthews from Your Insurance Expert is an expert in health insurance, life insurance, and Medicare supplements. He's that, so you don't have to be. Call Nick at 248-914-1173. That's Nick Matthews, 248-914-1173. Dustin enjoyed the extra show or the member show. It's not an extra show. It's a members only show.
Yeah. Exclusive.
Exclusive to the members. That was a good one too. I know you weren't there. I had to go late, but I had Chris and Amy do with me, and they were really good. They were a lot of
I've
fun.
been hearing about it today. I didn't
Have
listen
you?
yet, but it's in my repertoire. I just haven't gotten to it there. But people are like, "Oh yeah, you weren't on that one. What was going on?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. Whatever."
Yeah, no. It was late. That's why I had to go late. So I don't want to.
I already told them all. I was like, no, I'm not off the show or anything. It's just that he was going late, and I got things to do.
Yeah. No, it's hard. So and I'm dealing with Chris, who's on even more West Coast time.
Yeah,
so
it
was like, so it made sense to go later, and Amy could do it at night. So I was like, cool, we'll just do it. Love to have the extra show to listen to. Shout out to Chris and Amy. Yeah, thanks, Dustin. That was a lot of fun. Patreon.com/TDC Podcast. Hey, Mike, great show with Chris and Amy. I especially like the part where Amy said I can grab her ass in public, and all she'll do is call me white trash. I can handle that deal. Winky face. You guys were talking about how just questioning a vaccine makes you be labeled an anti-vaxxer. You left out my favorite part. When those COVID vax were being developed, the Orange Man was president. The very same people that label RFK Jr. an anti-vaxxer were publicly saying they wouldn't take Trump's vaccine. Then once Biden won, the exact same vaccine was absolutely necessary, and you didn't believe science if you didn't get in line. From Connor. Yeah, he is not wrong there.
Nope. That's what I tell people all the time. Like, you guys were all the anti-vax until it became the Biden vaccine. It was the same thing. It was just you were anti-vax. I'm not taking that Trump shot.
Yeah, it's wild to me, man. I'm trying to make sense of it. It's the hardest thing to make sense of is the hypocrisy in all this. And I'm sure we're guilty of it too on some level. I try not to be though. It's remarkable.
The difference though, I think, is when we find out the hypocrisy and what we're guilty of, we'll just admit it and talk about it.
Yeah.
Whereas they don't want to admit it. They don't want to let you know that it's very hypocritical. They're like, hold on, don't look there.
I got to think if it was proved over time, and this show's been going long enough, many years, to where it's like, oh yeah, remember when you got all worked up about X subject and it turns out you were fucking wrong the whole time, and you doubled down and tripled down, and you called everyone you've ever met a psychopath, blah, blah, blah. And now it turns out you were the one that was wrong. I think I would be able to look in the mirror in that case and go, yeah, you know what, man? Hey, I'm an imperfect human being. You're right. I did drop the ball on that. There's not a lot of things that come to mind that I can go, you know what, guys, I got to be honest with you. I really fucked up on that Russiagate thing. I was off about that. I was wrong about COVID and vax mandates. You know what? I'm sorry I led you guys down the wrong road.
No, so far I haven't had to apologize.
No, I just, it kind of, drives me nuts because I see more and more and more people doing the same thing. They're doing it to me right now with a lot of these stories. Like, see what fucking Trump did with this? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Give it an hour. Like, can you wait to see this play out before just assuming the automatic worst? I don't care what, ABC told you. Like how many times do they need to be proved wrong before you see what's going on here?
And the same goes for the right guys who are like the right wingers who are just like, oh, everything Trump does is godsend. He's 2 weeks in. He's already gotten all this through. And I'm like, I know he's doing a good job, but let these play out a little bit more before we start claiming them as victories.
Yeah, that's true too.
He's probably going to fuck some of this shit up, and you've tied yourself to it.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have to defend the fuck up.
That's not a bad point. Because I know we can be guilty of that too. Greg, we just did it with like, I'm here for all of it. Bring it on. And it's like, careful what you wish for. Yeah. Let's see how things play out. It seems logical that this is a better road to be traveling on. We'll see. But, I don't want to do too much dancing.
We can take some victory laps, but like sometimes when a policy comes out, you can't defend all of them. There's a couple where you got to go, hold on, I don't think Trump's right on that.
And these executive orders are a fucking problem. They were a problem when Obama did them. They were a problem when Trump did them. They were a problem when Biden did them. And they keep getting more and more and more like, this is how we're going to govern. This is how we're going to legislate.
I had a friend tell me or something like, do you think it's like okay for him to be using the executive orders like that? I'm like, fuck no, I don't. I didn't think it was okay when Biden did it. Let's take that power from him. I'm on this side.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, you should be able to get it through. But then, is it a matter of just undoing all the shit that someone else did? Because that's a lot of what Trump's doing is just undoing all the shit that never would have got put through. That was kind of microwaved in to our lives through executive order. He did it with Obama, which is why they talk about Trump was going to erase Obama's legacy. It's like, well, it's a legacy built primarily on executive order.
And it wasn't helping us.
And so that's what Biden tried to do to Trump, and Trump is absolutely doing to Biden, which I don't have a problem with. But I'm hoping they get somewhere firm on some of these things. It's hard to do, though. It's hard to do.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that with people seeing the way that it's going, it's like we can kind of get these undo the Biden stuff, and then hopefully the next guy doesn't undo everything Trump did, in more of a sense that we're all paying attention to politics, and he knows that what's popular and working for America is the only stuff that should be running.
Yeah. Well,
because if you try and run the DEI stuff again against a majority, it's not gonna fly. That's how you get another Harris situation.
I hope, man. I hope you're right. And
I do too.
It's kind of encouraging and kind of sad that young people are paying so much attention to this stuff. This idea of gotcha with everything's got to end, though. This idea of like expecting everybody to be perfect all the time isn't going to be good. That's not, the way to go. I don't know. We'll see. But Garrett is spot on. Conspiracies are theories until they're proved true.
Yep.
Which
Fake
they
until
almost
proven gay.
almost are. They almost all are. Stop being Pollyanna, Mike. I'm not being Pollyannish. I agree with you on most of these things.
Yeah.
Pollyannish meaning that I see the good in everything. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, that I'm assuming the best or expecting or assuming the best out of people, which there's evil and there's good. And I recognize both. Conspiracy theories, the term alone is troublesome because a conspiracy theory is just, they're too often immediately proved to be true. And then it's just like, what are you, a conspiracy theorist? It's like, well, I'm a
It's
conspiracy
getting thrown around like
theorist.
Nazi.
It is. And it,
You're a conspiracy theorist if you don't believe in the vax. You're also a conspiracy theorist if you think the moon isn't even real. It's like those are two very different camps of thinking.
Absolutely. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Not the moon landing. I don't have a problem with the moon landing.
No, the moon. The whole moon. It's
fucking
fake.
moon.
It's a Nazi base.
We all know that, though. We all recognize that.
Yeah, if you just fly something into it, it dongs like a bell. It's hollow.
It is. Dude, that's the craziest part about it. It's nuts.
Hollow moon theory.
All right, and that's true. That's not even a theory.
Yeah. There's a magnet in there. That's what pulls the ocean. Come on.
It could be.
And everybody knows who controls it. All right. I'm not going to say who, but
all right, James.
I'm not saying it. I didn't say anything. You put that in your head. You think
I know what you're thinking. You fucking monster. I know what you're thinking.
I'm just saying somebody has to man the moon magnet. They got to it first.
Leave it there. All right. Have a great one, dude. We'll be back tomorrow. I think Amy's going to join us tomorrow. I love when Amy's on. She's a lot of fun. So have a great rest of the day. I'm going to go take care of Stinky over here.